Welcome to Embrace Your Inner Boldness, the podcast dedicated to empowering you to live confidently, embracing all parts of who you truly are. I'm Melissa Henning-Frank, and I'm the founder, success coach, and consultant of Becoming Bold, LLC, and you can count on me to be your guide on this incredible journey of self-discovery and transformation. Let's get right to it. Welcome back to Embrace Your Inner Boldness. Today, we're tackling something we all experience on occasion. Hopefully not too occasionally. Some people maybe more than others. But it's the topic of stressful interactions with others, also known as conflict. But instead of focusing on resolving disagreements externally, we're going to turn inward. So think about how you react during interactions that make you feel tense and uncomfortable. What can your patterns and your emotions tell you? And how can you use this self-awareness to handle difficult moments with clarity and confidence? Let's frickin' go. Actually, before we frickin' go, have you joined my email list yet? Every week, I'll be sending the Becoming Bold Blueprint, which includes deep insights, thought prompts, a quick link to the latest and greatest podcast episode, and you'll get exclusive, password-only access to the Becoming Bold Blueprint page on my website, where you'll find an assortment of bonuses and toolkits to help you on your development path. You can find the link to sign up for the email community in the show notes. It just takes seconds to sign up, and next thing you know, support and empowerment plops right into your inbox every Friday. Okay, now let's freaking go. This episode is a little bit different from my other episodes, probably a little more hands-on and tactical than you might be used to. So if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, let this be a preview into the work you can do later when you're in a better position to do some inner work. You can still listen, but please don't take your hands off the wheel to take notes. Make sure you do that part later. So we'll start with a category and a thought prompt to get your wheels turning in the direction of becoming more self-aware about how you navigate conflict. And then there will be some supporting talking points to help you go even deeper. If you sign up for my email, you'll have access to a worksheet that lays all of this out for you. Conflict is in the air, peeps. You can't control what others do or say or think, but you can control how you deal with stressful interactions. It takes work, and it's worth it. We need to do this work to stay sane and to stay in our power. Step 1, the trigger and the truth. So here's your thought prompt. When I feel misunderstood or disrespected, how do I usually react? And what does that reaction reveal about my deeper needs or values? So think about these things. Conflict tends to expose raw emotions and unmet needs. When someone challenges us, do we lash out, shut down, or people please? Our first emotional response, maybe it's anger, sadness, or anxiety, can help reveal our deeper insecurities and our core values. Instead of reacting impulsively, pause and ask, what am I making this mean? What am I truly needing right now? Sometimes when we're dealing with difficult or stressful situations, our nervous systems kick into high gear and we start telling ourselves stories that might not even be true. If respect is a core value of yours, then a rude or dismissive comment might trip your anger button. But rather than assuming someone is attacking you, try asking them for clarity. A simple, can you say more about what you mean by that? Instead of saying, what the F did you just say? Can help stop conflict before it starts in many cases. Step 2, patterns and origins. And here's your thought prompt. Do I tend to avoid conflict, confront it directly, or try to smooth things over? And where do I think I learned this approach? The way we handle conflict is often shaped by early experiences, family dynamics, or societal conditioning. And if you grew up in a home where conflict meant raised voices and tension, you might avoid confrontation entirely. Were you taught that being nice meant staying quiet? If you were, then you might struggle with not asserting yourself when you should. Recognizing why we handle conflict the way we do allows us to reshape our approach with intention. More questions that you can ask yourself are, does this pattern serve me today? Or is it keeping me stuck? Step 3, voice and visibility. So here's your thought prompt. When I feel unheard or dismissed, how do I typically show up? And how does that affect the dynamic of the relationship or the situation? Feeling unheard is frustrating, but how we respond shapes the outcome. So do you raise your voice? Do you go silent? Do you seek validation from somebody else and start talking, which is typically called triangulating? Have you ever felt truly empowered during conflict? What made that moment different? Consider how you're perceived in those moments of uncomfortable, stressful interactions. Does shutting down make others less receptive to you? Practicing assertiveness without aggression, of course, allows you to communicate your needs without diminishing your voice. Sometimes conflict happens because we're not communicating our needs, and we're still expecting the other person to guess what we need or what's wrong with us, and that's not fair to them. Step 4, vision for growth. So your thought prompt here is, what does a healthy conflict resolution look like to me? And what small changes would help me get closer to practicing it consistently? Conflict doesn't have to be destructive. It can lead to new ideas, clarity, and growth. Imagine a stressful interaction where you stay grounded and honest instead of reactive. What does that look like? Truly envision what that looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. Strengthening your emotional regulation and your communication skills helps you navigate those uncomfortable interactions with clarity and takes away that sting that conflict can sometimes give us in the pit of our stomachs. So a great first step is to pause before reacting. I've talked about this before on the podcast, and it's so important. Ask yourself, what's the best way to express my perspective while staying respectful and true to myself? Small changes like stating your needs calmly rather than assuming others should understand them can completely transform difficult moments into learning opportunities. Take a breath before you react or respond. Control that urge to lash out. I've heard it said that your breath should be the first word you speak, and you get it. It's not even a word. Pause and take that breath. So let's go through some steps where you can practice self-awareness in conflict. Identify your most common reaction to conflict. What is your go-to? Does it actually reflect something deeper inside you? What are you missing? What do you actually need? Think about where your approach to conflict stems from. Is it serving you or limiting you? How did you grow to be the person that you are today that handles difficult interactions in the way that you do? What caused that? In your next stressful encounter, pause before reacting. Practice clarity and intention, as I mentioned. Start small. Speak honestly. Maintain your composure and express your needs clearly. Being calm is not being weak. It's being in control of your nervous system so you can keep your high vibe and handle stressful interactions much more intentionally and effectively. If they can't or won't match your vibe, let them. Then you continue being the influencer, not the influenced. Every team or family functions at the level as the person with the most dysfunction in that group. And that's because most of the time we tiptoe around the person with the most dysfunction instead of holding them accountable. But why? Because it's likely going to be a stressful interaction that will be uncomfortable. So that's called codependency, and we could spend a whole episode talking about just that topic. Conflict doesn't have to be something that we're afraid of. It can be something that we master with self-awareness and intention. When we pause, reflect, and choose growth over reactivity, we shift from being stuck in our old patterns and our old ways to stepping into clarity and strength. Try your best to think of problems as something outside of you and the other person or group of people. It's an entity on its own. It's not attached to you and it's not attached to them. When you realize that it can truly be you and them against the problem instead of you against them because of the problem, you'll begin to see things so very differently, and you'll be able to tackle issues with the support of others instead of against others. It's you and me against the issue, not each other. The way we handle conflict shapes not just our relationships, but our own personal growth and evolution. As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That means you've got things living in your unconscious, in your subconscious, or in your metaphorical backpack, as I've talked about before. You've got all of those things guiding you and driving you, and you're not even realizing that. And then when you think about the comment of it will direct your life and you will call it fate, that's you saying that you don't have any control over what happens to you, and you absolutely 100% freaking do. So what unconscious patterns are guiding you? What's in your subconscious that you might not be aware of? And how can you bring that into the light to transform how you show up in those challenging moments? Remember, growth starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you. Carl Jung was a big inspiration for Isabel Briggs Myers and her mother, Catherine Cook Briggs. They were the developers of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And Carl Jung's ideas about introversion, extroversion, and cognitive functions really laid the foundation for the MBTI. If you want to know more about how you personally handle conflict based on who you are and your personality type, and if you want to know the best way for you to overcome challenges and deal with stressful interactions so that you can master conflict, let's talk. Conflict isn't going anywhere. Stressful interactions aren't going anywhere. So we might as well get better at dealing with it. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the show notes and let's get started on that. Stressful interactions and conflict don't have to take you down. I'm rooting for you. You've got this, and we can work together to increase your confidence in this area. For now, as the world feels like disagreement is waiting just around the corner on some days, please be kind to your mind. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. I hope you found inspiration and actionable tips to help you live more confidently. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss out on the latest insights and empowering stories. Please take a moment to also leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and be able to continue bringing you more content that uplifts and motivates. Empowering yourself and/or your team starts with embracing your inner boldness. When we stop playing small, we open the door to limitless potential. Remember, the only limit to your greatness is the one you set for yourself. Stay bold, stay fearless, and let's make this journey unforgettable.